This is probably the last public thing, I mean, as public as these videos are. Um, this is probably the last thing I'm going to say on the record for a while about this case, unless something new happens, and I feel like I have something interesting perhaps to add about where things are going with it. But I just wanted to talk about Nick Reiner for a minute longer. I've already covered this case. It, of course, captured my interest. It was this horrific, sensationalistic, shocking story of double murder of, I believe, is it called parricide, where a person murders both of his parents. It's patricide if it's just your father. But to murder both your own mother and your own father by cutting their throats in their as they lie in their beds at night, it's Dostoevskian. It's chilling. It's very darkly compelling, especially when we're talking about somebody who was famous and who, for a time, although it was a while ago, for a time he was one of the hottest directors in Hollywood, and still has all of these movies that he made in this particular streak that was going on in the 80s and into the 90s. The streak of movies that are still looked on highly favorably as classics, and I like most of them. I'm not, none of them are favorites of mine, except maybe Spinal Tap. That's I think a truly hilarious movie. But the rest, they're I think they're all good. I give them their due, give them their props. I'm not a fanatical adherent to their cinematic wonderfulness or expertise or whatever. Anyway, that somebody that high level would get murdered by his own son alongside his wife. Obviously, you can't help but have a reaction to that sort of thing. It's sensational. It's and what bothers me about this case, I mean, of course, there's a lot to be bothered by, but something that I don't hear a lot about. I did hear about it in one interview, but I haven't heard about it much elsewhere. If this were a poor family, first of all, we probably wouldn't even hear about it. We probably would barely hear about it. Maybe we would hear about it just because of the brutal, sensationalistic elements of it, which have some resonance, have some ability to break into, to break into the mind, and really grab a part of you, no matter what, even if these are just a bunch of people that you don't even know, and that aren't famous in any way. But it seems that with Nick Reiner, he's the ultimate scapegoat, because people's assessment of him is this. They say he was born from privilege. He had everything a person could possibly want. He did not want for anything. The world was his oyster. He could have been anything that he wanted to be. You know, he had this pedigree. He had wealth. He had a famous father. You know, if he had wanted to follow in his father's footsteps and be a movie maker, I'm sure, you know, he would have gotten some help in that regard if he wanted to act, whatever. So he had everything, whereas other people struggle to get by, you know, and don't have nearly as much. And some people are really, truly struggling in this world. But someone like Nick Reiner had everything. And what did he do? He just went and became a junkie. He went and became a drug addict, and was in and out of rehab on, you know, and then his daddy's money was paying for it. You know, they always, the condescending way that people talk about, you know, people who are seen as fortunate or well off. They talk about, oh, you have daddy's money. You took daddy's money. They refer to you know, their parents as daddy, because, you know, they're wanting to treat them as if they're wanting to demean them. They're wanting to say, they're wanting to vent their spleen against them, you know, because, oh, you know, you had everything you could possibly want, and that wasn't enough for you, was it? You still had to go and just get hooked on hard drugs and never get, you know, never get your head straight, and go through years and years and years of this, and then to top it all off, you kill your parents. So it's like, you want to talk about the ultimate scapegoat, right? You want to talk about somebody, and this isn't me justifying him murdering his parents or becoming a junkie or doing any of the bad things that he did, but you want to talk about somebody who is easily scapegoated. Take somebody who is wealthy and privileged, and who just becomes a total fuck up, you know, and then worse than that, becomes a double murderer, becomes murders the mother and father, murders the very people who brought him into this world. Well, it's easy to hate on this guy, isn't it? And what you wouldn't want to hear, what you would never want to hear, what people have a hard time, what some people would have a hard time hearing and believing and considering, is that maybe there's more to the story than meets the eye. Maybe there's more to the story of Nick Reiner and his life than meets the eye. You know, yes, he was born into wealth and privilege. Plenty of people who are born into wealth and privilege still have a ton of problems. Still have a lot of difficulties, because wealth and privilege certainly aren't everything. And it's easy enough to say that when you're poor and or when you're not very well off and you're just scraping to get by. You know, you think to yourself, and I mean, I'm no exception. You think to yourself, well, you know, boy, I wish I had his problems, or if I had I mean, I've thought recently, you know, if I just found a way to have money, not like money to be rich, but just if I could just get by, and not have to worry about money, and then I could just write, you know, I could just pursue what I think my gifts are, what I believe I was put here to do. You know, it's not even about being rich. It's just about being able not to have to worry about that stuff. So I get it. I get why you would look down on someone like that, and why you would stubbornly resist ever being talked out of looking down on someone like Nick Reiner. But I'd like to suggest to you, that maybe there's more to the story that we don't know. And you know, I'm not comfortable being completely explicit with what I'm saying here, or what some of the possibilities might be. But I will recommend a channel below where certain ideas, certain possibilities, certain notions are discussed, and I'll link it in the description box below. So that's why I would, but whether or not you're going to do that, whether or not you want to pursue the possibilities that are brought up. I mean, remember we're talking about Hollywood. Remember that, okay? No matter how, my impression of Rob Reiner is that he was generally, a likable, well-meaning teddy bear of a guy, even though he was a pain in the ass, politically speaking. But we don't know. We don't really know these people. We think we do. We think we know who Nick Reiner was, and what he was all about, and why he wound up the way that he wound up, because we say, I've known people like that. I grew up with somebody just like that, or whatever. And we connect it to somebody that we hate, and we vent our spleen against a person like Nick Reiner, because we connect him up with some type of person that we have known and whom we despise, probably for largely good reasons. But none of us, I strongly suspect that nobody who watches this video knew Nick Reiner. I certainly didn't. Didn't know him, don't know anyone in his family. So, I would say think twice before jumping to conclusions. That's all. And I will leave the link below if you want to investigate certain possibilities, given again that this is Hollywood we're talking about.